Here's the other problem, is this kind of goes a little deeper. I mean, we talk about stewardship of the resources in the county, and, you heard the discussion in the last hour with Eric Seitz, and part of it is we were talking about the issue of trust and being able to trust people who are elected. And so when we see this sleight of hand happening, year after year in various local government entities, it undermines the trust. And when Ken Boyd tells somebody about it and they don't report it, it's like, who can we trust in local government? Who's going to tell us the truth, and can we believe anything that's being put forward?
And that seems to be the problem is we can't get straight answers from, it seems to be a few people. It's not the entire county government, but there are a few people. And when Eric Strucko was trying to get me information on the athletic agreements, he's trying very hard. And the county attorney won't give him a copy. What kind of obstruction is going on in our county? And that's exactly what's happening. You and I have both filed Freedom of Information Acts, and you know what happens. It's purely obstruction. Keep it out of sight so that they don't know what's happening behind the curtain.
So here's the issue, though, and I know that Eric Strucko has been very responsive to you, and he's been very responsive to me, outside of Jason Biaki, who's been terrific, but this predates him in some ways, my interactions with Eric on the school board. He was sometimes the only one who responded out of all of them, and most often the first one who responded, if anyone else did. And yet, I can't let any of the elected officials off the hook. If the county attorney doesn't give Eric Strucko the information, if somebody on the Board of Supervisors, if Rodney Thomas or Dwayne or Ken asks a question and they don't give it to them, if Maury Brown, the former director of communications, provides incomplete information on a FOIA request, and we go back to the school board and say, hey, your person who you're paying $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year to provided incomplete information on a very serious issue, it is your responsibility to take action. And I have not seen action taken against any of these entities who are stonewalling within the county, and I'm not holding my breath.
And that's why I was so disappointed when the Hook article came out and Dr. Moran withheld 268 emails. Those emails belong to the people. Now, if you put a note on there, this email was about a personal issue with a student, that's acceptable. But all 268 emails can't be released to the public. I have always had faith in her, and that was a big change right there because it gives the appearance of suspicion. It gives the appearance of something going wrong. Release those emails. The Hook and the people have a right to see what's in them.
Well, it's true, but unfortunately, I think that the establishments, whether it's in the local schools or whether it's inside City Hall or the county office building, have been trusted and perhaps in many cases mistrusted for so long that they've built up a wall around themselves. And so when you or I make a FOIA request, gosh, I recently requested one out of a $95,000 man, Rick Barrick in City Hall, who does the job of supposedly disseminating information, and it took him 30 days to respond to a FOIA request. I had to get back to him after 30 days and say, hey, where's the information? We saw it when we asked for things with the schools. It was incomplete. It took forever to get it. And yet this goes on and on. Now, Maury Brown is no longer with the Albemarle schools. There's a new person there. I've had no interaction with him whatsoever. But I'm just wondering what it's going to take to break the back of what I think is institutional arrogance.
When Maury Brown sends me an email saying there's no Under Armour agreement, and I call up Under Armour with a reporter from the Daily Progress, and they say, oh, yeah, there's an agreement. We can't send it to you because it's private, but yeah, there's an agreement. And I have to go back to Maury Brown and say, Under Armour says there's one, and then all of a sudden it appears.
Yeah.
That's either incompetence or deceit, and there's no way around it.
And I had the same thing. Well, she said, I asked for signed agreements. She sent me an unsigned one and said there wasn't any. And then I made a separate FOIA, and Fitzgerald Barnes responded, and he sent in a signed agreement. And so the question was, and the question remains to me, and this is just one of many in this, is if Fitzgerald Barnes didn't provide the information to Maury Brown when she asked for it, where is the oversight of the school board on somebody working for the schools who didn't comply? And if he did and she didn't send it, then where was the oversight on that? These questions just never got answered, and the school board, quite frankly, with maybe one or two exceptions, seems very uninterested in answering them.
And I think we're going to have to demand some answers. And I think the only way to get to the full picture is an independent audit, like so many school districts and counties do around the country. That's really the only way, because we can't trust the answers that we're getting from person A and person B because they often conflict with each other. So
what are we going to do? I mean, we need to look at this, I think, tactically. in the short term and strategically in the long term. But tactically speaking, we have elections coming up. Maybe there are some people running who are fighters, but for the most part, I'm not sure that any of the people running, with maybe one exception, have the mettle to stand up to the establishment, to take the reins of the school board out of the staff and out of the administration and say, you know what, we are the bosses here. We're in charge. So what is the tactical plan here?
Well, we just have to keep doing what we've been doing. For right now, we've got to keep sending in these Freedom of Information. And, I think I'm going to have to sit and take that stack that's on my desk of unanswered FOIA requests and some of the responses, which, you've gotten one, I've gotten a few where, we can respond to this, but only if you send us a check for $300 to cover the labor. And it's literally a search you can do on a computer in seconds and costs nothing.
Right.
And if you want me to pay for the paper and the toner, I'll be happy to pay for that. But $300 for requests like that. We're going to have to start publicly. I'm going to have to put up on the website. Here's all the FOIA requests we put in that haven't been answered. And we'll have to just document that right on our website. And we'll send a copy to you, too, and you can keep yours up there with ours. And that will show the people what is not being responded to.
I think one of the other things, and I've certainly thought about this, and I'll have a chance very shortly to talk with Megan Ryan from the Virginia Coalition for Open Government about what the penalties are for FOIA violations. Perhaps it's time to find somebody in the legal community who's willing to do some pro bono work. I don't think it would take much, but to file a case against these entities that are refusing to answer FOIAs in a timely manner. There has to be some legal remedy, and maybe it's something that we could work together on, because I'm sick of it. I know you are, and we've got a lot of better things to do than to continue asking the same questions over and over of people who are being paid exorbitant amounts of money to answer questions who instead withhold the information.
Well, I just thought of my first FOIA request to the new gentleman, don't know his name, but that took over Maury Brown's spot, is going to be a FOIA request for a list of all the FOIA requests. and so let's see who else. I mean, we know the Hook didn't get answers. We know that you haven't gotten answers. I haven't gotten answers. So let's find out what's out there and what has been answered and what hasn't been.
And I think that's part of the game, Jim, is that what they do is they basically just try to stonewall you long enough that you'll forget the questions you asked before. They answer in roundabout ways and hoping that all of that gets lost, and then at some point we just forget about it because there's something new that we need to be aware of and new questions we're asking and the old ones gets lost. I know that's the game they're playing down at City Hall, and I do my best to stay on top of it. I know you're doing your best as well. Give us the website if people want to visit the Truth in Taxation Alliance and sign up. It's AlbemarleTruthinTaxation.org. I stumped him, but I do know that because I was there this morning and took a look at it. So AlbemarleTruthinTaxation.org. Check it out, please. Jim Stern, thanks for the work that you're doing. It is very, very important work, and we thank you for sharing this with us today.